Through a wonderful opportunity to visit the magnificent Quinta do Paral Hotel in Portugal, I had the opportunity to travel to a remote part of the Roman Empire, ancient Lusitania. Join me for exploration and discovery of a well-preserved villa, an ancient winemaking country that still thrives today by making exceptional wines. We are in the ruins of the Villa of São Cucufate, in the district of Beja, in the municipality of Vitigueira, and near the parish of Vila de Frades, 100 miles from Lisbon. We're going to explore this Roman site of 20,000 square meters, over 4 acres. You have beautiful landscape to admire. You have the history of wine. You can appreciate the rich wine country of Portugal right here in Quinta do Paral. And you're surrounded by natural beauty, and you're connected to the past. The rich landscape is filled with vineyards. And of course, you have Roman ruins. We're in Portugal, which was part of the Roman province under Emerita Augusta. It took the Romans 2 centuries to conquer these lands, and they became a close extension of the Roman and Italian culture, with wealthy landowners building impressive estates and working farms, such as we see here. Walking around the remains of in the end, it's a 4th century complex here, but the core of it is a 1st century AD villa. And what you see is an expansive complex. And right over here, down off the slope, it's one of 2 piscinas, or big pools. And you even have, in the vicinity here, a Roman temple. It's all going to get Christianized, but the core of this is taking this back to the times of the Roman Empire, 2,000 years ago. And you have to imagine that the landscape, olive trees and vineyards, is pretty much the same. So let's take a look at this Roman villa. Remember, the core is the 1st century AD. It's going to expand in the 2nd century, and it's going to be luxurious. There are going to be 2 massive pools. This one we can see is still lined with the waterproof concrete. And this section right here, which we think by the 4th century is for grainage storage, is converted into a church in the Middle Ages, and it's going to have frescoes that date to the 17th century. So you have a long life in this pristine location. The landscape is going to be like it was 2,000 years ago. It's just agriculture. Let's examine the history and the evolution of the site, first looking at these general plans of the villa in its final state. Though the first iteration dates to the 1st century AD, the farm, granary, or Villa 1 as it's called, dates between the 1st century and 120 to 130 AD. 540 square meters for the owner's villa, 250 square meters for the rustic structure, and a 1,300 square meter courtyard. It's a modest villa. In the 2nd century, the peristyle villa, or Villa 2 as it's known by the excavators, lasted from about 120 to 340 or 350 AD. This is much enlarged, 15,000 square acres. The incorporation of the rustic spaces from the farm now make a larger villa with an aqueduct fed from streams for baths with some reservoirs. It has a much more Roman appearance with traditional rooms. But it's in the next phase in the 4th century, the aulic or palatial villa, Villa 3, that runs from 350 to the mid-5th century. This is the one with a new style, new building techniques, the grand remains that we admire today, with an extensive bath complex and impressive audience halls. Finally, the Roman villa as such was abandoned as an estate and reoccupied for granary storage, and then a convent by the 9th century through the 12th century. Then it became part of the ecclesiastical parish of São Cucufate, and the frescoes that remain intact on the site date to the 16th and 17th centuries. So we're inside an area that's attributed to be either a wine cellar or a granary. It's converted into a church by the 4th century, and the frescoes that we see here, 17th century. So you have a long life of the space kind of carved out from the remains of a villa that traces back all the way to the 1st century. And we can walk through as we have our late imperial vaulting. We have the walls. This is a true surprise for me. Wow. I mean, to have these things in elevation. The whole point is, when you go and see Roman ruins around the world, how many times do you see something where you can go literally upstairs, we can go up and get a view of the entire layout of the villa? Look at this gorgeous, gorgeous landscape. And we want to think that this is the way it was 2,000 years ago when the villa was created. We're on a bit of a rise. We have a natural kind of elevated spot from which the villa was originally constructed. And then from that original core, the complex got larger and larger, more refined, more ornate, big pools of water, and even on the corner, a Roman temple. So we have a place for meeting, we have a place for parties, we have a place for banquets, we have a place for veneration. Hey, I'm a big fan of following the locals. I'm a big fan of taking the advice and exploring, and what's better than coming to a site that you've never even heard of or known the existence of. That is exciting. And what a treat here in Portugal. In addition to everything else, you have today incredible local cuisine. So it's the food, it's the wine. You can come to a wine museum and it really ties things together. It connects you from the ancient Romans all the way to the wine production still today in the region. There's a rich wine tradition started by the Romans, and it continues today. Thanks for joining me for a walk through this impressive multi-story villa. Up the stairs for views of the villa in its still rural context, as well as a walk around the grounds, looking at the reservoirs, and this temple with its Lusitanian characteristics and an apse with a half dome in the cella, possibly dedicated to Liber, the god of wine, and those baths. Keep in mind, we're not too far from the notable veteran colony of Pax Julia, today's Beja, Portugal, just 26 kilometers away. You can join me for more adventures and exploration each week. Please like and subscribe, and see you next week for a new discovery.